Why do you build me up? Buttercup, baby, just to let me down and mess me around in the worst of all.
What is going on, guys? I am back with another review of the day at an amusement park, and this time I will be discussing August 14th, 2020 at Dorney Park. Now, this is the latest day we've ever had at Dorney Park because there was no crowds. We got there at opening. It was a weekday, and we got on everything we needed to. And so, anyways, let's just let's just get on with this review of the day. So, when EB and I first got to Dorney Park, the first thing we did was Dominator Green, because that's what we'd been planning out for, in what feels like ages. And so, anyways, when we first got to Dominator Green, I thought I first saw my friend Jack as the ride attendant on it again, and sure enough, he was. And the first thing he said when he noticed us was like, "Let me guess, you guys are gonna do a review on this?" Because he watches my vlogs, and he was just making jokes like, "What? Are you gonna shout ride manufacturers like you did on Sea Dragon?" and he said he watches my videos. So Jack, I know you're watching this, so shout out goes to you for being a really good ride attendant this morning. And so, anyways, after Dominator Green, we headed for center stage fries because EB had never eaten there in all of his years of going to Dorney, and I had not eaten there either. And I got the jumbo hot dog from Center Stage Fries, and it was really good. And Evie got some chicken from Center Stage Fries, and so, anyways, after Center Stage Fries, we were gonna ride Demon Drop, but then it was closed for reasons that we don't know about. But the sign says the ride opens at noon. And so, anyways, after that disappointment, we headed for Thunderhawk, and whoever thought that it would end up being our first coaster of the day, you guys. One of the coasters on the upper midway always ends up being our first coaster of the day, and this time it's Thunderhawk, and we once again rode Thunderhawk in the front row, and it was amazing, you guys. And so, anyways, after that front row ride on Thunderhawk in the morning, we headed for Steel Force, where we got a front row ride in on that. And it was the best front row ride on Steel Force I'd ever had. I got some ejector air time over those hills and those Camelback hills. And so, anyways, after Steel Force, we were gonna ride Revolution, so I could go barefoot on it like usual. And by the way, let's not forget that I went barefoot on Dominator Green too, and Jack saw me, but he didn't say anything. And so, anyways, let's get back on track here. So after Steel Force, we were gonna ride Revolution, but then it was closed for unknown reasons. So we headed to Cedar Creek Flyers. And that was a really good ride-in on Cedar Creek Flyers. And so, anyways, after Cedar Creek Flyers, we headed to Monster, and that was a really good ride on Monster. I feel like the Monster has been operating really good this season. And so, anyways, after the Monster, we headed for Thunder Creek Mountain, which was a really good ride on it. And who'd ever thought it would be our first water ride of the day? It always ends up being Thunder Canyon, and this time it's Thunder Creek Mountain. And it was a really good ride on Thunder Creek Mountain too. We did the log film song on it, like always. And so, anyways, after Thunder Creek Mountain, where we went on Dominator Red, where I earthed on it once again. And so, anyways, after Dominator Red, we rode the Whip, and thought we were going to have a Zen ride, but we were actually on it with that guy from July the 31st who was like, "I want Black Train." And after the Whip, which was a really good ride on the Whip, we saw that we saw the guy from we saw the Black Train fan, like I told you about, and he started talking to EB. and so, anyways, after we rode the Whip, we headed for Sea Dragon, which was a really good ride on it because we were singing in the back, and we got some ejector air time when we were going up there. And so, anyways, after Sea Dragon, we headed for Apollo, where we saw Anthony from Ride the Thrills operating it once again. And so, anyways, after Apollo, when we were about to get off, Anthony gave us a re-ride. Like, oh my gosh, that's the best thing he's ever done for us. So a shout out goes to Anthony from Ride the Thrills for giving us a re-ride on Apollo today. And so anyways, after those 2 rides on Apollo we had without getting off, we headed to the ice cream stand so Evie can get a refill, so I can get a chocolate soft serve ice cream. And so, anyways, after I got my soft serve ice cream, EB suggested we sit at center stage, and we ended up watching a bit of the Uprights as they were singing their last song when we came in. And so EB was making antics out of what the Uprights were singing, which was Country Road, and he was making up his own lyrics while while I was eating ice cream. And so, anyways, after we watched a bit of the Uprights and after I ate my ice cream, we headed for Music Express, where Anthony was actually the ride attendant on this one, which was really cool. And he gave us a re-ride on Music Express too. Like, isn't that lit, you guys? And the second ride we had on Music Express, which was without getting off, thanks to Anthony. So another shout out goes to you, Anthony, if you're watching this, for giving us a re-ride on Music Express too. But anyways, on that second ride on Music Express, we thought we were gonna have a Zen ride, but then so many people came on. We kept thinking we were gonna have Zen rides on Apollo and Music Express, but then people came on with us. And so, anyways, after that ride on Music Express, we headed for Tilt-A-Whirl, which was a really good ride in on that. And so, anyways, after the Tilt-A-Whirl, we headed for Enterprise, which is always a good ride on that. And so, anyways, after Enterprise, we rode Hydra, and I was just about to go earthing on it in the back row when they closed it for maintenance. But EB and I stayed in the station and waited because I really wanted to ride Hydra barefoot in the back row, since I'd only ever ridden it barefoot in the front row, and I still had yet to do it in the back row. And so, anyways, after they were done with maintenance, I actually went barefoot on Hydra in the back row, and it was amazing. Like, I cannot tell you how amazing that was. And plus, I always have fun earthing on inverted rides now. And so, anyways, after that barefoot back row ride on Hydra for me, we headed for Wild Mouse, and that was a really good ride in on that, since it didn't have a line. And so, anyways, after Wild Mouse, we headed to Talon, where I rode it barefoot in row 6. Yeah, so sorry I stuttered there. I thought of something, but then didn't want to say it. And so, anyways, after that barefoot row 6 ride on Talon for me, we headed for Wave Swinger, where I went earthing on it for the first ever time. And it was amazing. I started earthing on rides on August 7th, 2020, but never bothered to earth on Wave Swinger until this visit, which was crazy, guys. And it was a crazy experience earthing on Wave Swinger. Like, oh my gosh. I highly recommend earthing on Wave Swinger at your local home park. I recommend you earthing on your local Wave Swinger. It's amazing. And so, anyways, after I earthed on Wave Swinger, we headed straight for Thunder Canyon, and we got 2 rides on it, 2 back-to-back rides on it, and they were both very good. And so, anyways, after those 2 rides on Thunder Canyon, we headed to what did we do after Thunder Canyon? We headed to Ferris Wheel. Oh, yeah. We headed to Ferris Wheel. I'm sorry, guys. I just had to think for a minute. And so, anyways, we got some really good shots from the Ferris Wheel. And so, anyways, after that ride on the Ferris Wheel we headed to Demon Drop, since we noticed it was back open. And when we got off at Thunder Canyon, Evie checked the weather app to see what rides were open, and sure enough, both Demon Drop and Revolution were open. And so, anyways, after that exciting moment, we headed for Demon Drop, which was a really good ride on that. And we headed for Revolution, where I went barefoot on it once again, and we got the high side at one point in the ride, and apparently my phone had fallen out of my pocket because I had forgotten to zip my pocket because I was so focused on going barefoot on Revolution. And I realized that when I took my iPod out of my pocket to do my Revolution review, and after the review, I realized that my phone had went missing. And so, anyways, when we went inside Revolution to look for it, when we were about to exit it, a kid was like, "Are you guys looking for a phone?" And I was like, and he was like, "Yeah." And then he was like, "I gave it to the lady over there," and that was nice of him. And and luckily, one of the ride ops had it, which was absolutely lit. And I got lucky there because I didn't end up losing it. And so, anyways, after that clear up, we headed for a re-ride on Steel Force, which was really good. And we saw a guy on Steel Force way in front of us, and he was waving his hands like this. And so, anyways, after that rerun on Steel Force, we headed up to Coaster's Drive-In for dinner, and that was a really good dinner at Coaster's Drive-In. I got the bacon cheeseburger. And so, anyways, after that meal at Coaster's Drive-In, we rode Dodgem, where we got 3 re-rides on Dodgem without getting off, which was absolutely lit. And then, after those 3 re-rides on Dodgem, we went on Talon again. I went earthing on it again, and this time in row 4. And so, anyways, after that ride on Talon, I realized if I changed back into my shoes and socks really quickly and then ran to Rita's, we'd probably have time for me to get a Rita's. And sure enough, we did. We got a Rita's right when it was closing, you guys. We waited in line before closing, but then I got my blue raspberry Italian ice right when the park closed, and which was absolutely lit. I kept getting lucky on this visit, you guys. I was able to get a Rita's, and then, and before that, the ride op had my phone at Revolution, which was hallelujah. And so, anyways, so I got my Rita's, and then that basically concludes this review of August 14th, 2020 at Dorney Park. Reply to me your thoughts on this video, and make sure to stay tuned for more coming to Coaster Plus Music 19, and I will see you in the next